Hello, everyone. Thank you for waiting for us. Let's start with our new episode of Impact. First of all, thank you for an overwhelming response to our first episode and a warm welcome to our second episode of Impact Next webinar. Impact Next is a webinar series dedicated to bringing you the insights of industry experts who have contributed, implemented, and adopted open source technology. In this digital age, open source technology has transformed the landscape of innovation and collaboration. By leveraging open source software, we break free from limitations, fostering an environment where building and improving upon existing technology knows no bounds. This approach allows us to create solutions that are more accessible and inclusive, benefiting individuals and industries and organizations alike. Open source technology has paved the way for some of the most remarkable and influential projects in recent history. Together, we aim to push the boundaries of what is possible, embracing the ethos of take lead, make it matter. Join us as we delve into the world of open source technology, learning from experts who have first-hand experience in harnessing its potential. Let's seize this opportunity to explore, innovate, and make a lasting impact together. Welcome to Impact Next. It is my utmost pleasure to introduce our esteemed webinar speaker today, a true knowledge leader with an extensive multidisciplinary background, Manjari Sule, who is also happens to be AVP Projects, Assistant Vice President, Projects at Takely Technologies. Manjari is a knowledge leader with the decades of experience in social and private sectors. She possesses multidisciplinary expertise and have excelled in domains such as health, economics, quality of education, medical electronics, industrial automation, to name a few. She has successfully delivered large-scale projects for multinational organizations and implemented solutions for rural communities as well. With a focus on good governance, she connects with domain expertise, excel in task delivery, and ensure qualitative monitoring evaluation. It is with great anticipation that we eagerly await the valuable insights and knowledge that Manjari will share with us today. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to her, whose expertise and accomplishments make them an invaluable asset for a team at Taken. Over to you, Manjari ma'am.
Thank you so much, Pooja. Thank you for a wonderful introduction. And my apologies to all the audience. I think it's rains and Bombay locals have set the delays. So we are also perhaps in line with that. There were some technology hiccups. Sorry about it once again. And perhaps we can start immediately without wasting much of a time. As Pooja has been introducing, impact is the word now. Without the impact sector, perhaps this entire technology growth development that we are targeting is not going to make any sense unless the impact reaches to the root level direct end beneficiary. And hence today's topic, accelerating digital information with physitization, is very a key area, important key area in terms of enhancing the impact, increasing the impact, maybe even increasing the speed of the impact. And hence, I guess all my friends over here are from various sectors. I know few of them. The agenda, anyways, we had discussed, we had circulated, and it might have set your expectations. So I won't spend time much on maybe reading that or giving you a time to read that. Let's catch up on the time that we have lost. Initially, let's just a very quick catch up what the physitization has done to us. And I don't think I need any detailed introduction because we are living with Aadhaar now. Aadhaar has enabled much. I mean, the digitization that we had never imagined maybe a few decades back. We used to go to banks, we used to go to maybe even fill our slips, wait for withdrawing our money or depositing our money. And it's Aadhaar, it's online KYC that has given such a quick transactional time frame to us that our today's kids perhaps won't know what the banking transaction with paper was and what was the time frame to settle the transaction overnight. Whether it's Aadhaar, whether it's UPI payment, whether it's now those who are traveling frequently are very much aware of DigiYatra. With DigiYatra, all the long queues that we have with our air tickets in our hands, those who have enabled their DigiYatra application on their mobile don't have to wait in those long queues, even to like get inside the entry to airport or even check in their luggage and showing their ID cards, etc. So this is what is all around us. The entire digital transformation that has connected physical and digital world is something that we are living now every second, perhaps. And what has done that to us, to our lives? It has given a seamless and enhanced experience. You know, all of us have like experiencing that. There's nothing that we need to talk about it separately. Again, standing in the queues, going to the banks, going to the airport, anything, we know why we call this as an enhanced experience. Is at the click of a hand, you know, from our mobile, from our laptop, sitting on our bed, we are doing so many transactions because of this transformation. This is also seamless, like we'll go and see how seamless it is with our iris, with our biometric identification. We don't even have to like reach to our hand and show any card or show, open up our mobile application. It's just we have to stand in front of some digital device that scans our eyes or scans our thumbs, and we are through to the process that we want to do. That is what the seamless is. It's giving so many other experiences to it. It's like, of course, there is increased operational efficiency. And that is why perhaps we are losing our maybe patience when things are not working out very quickly. And anywhere, even there is a second delay, we are experiencing like our impatience. And that is because this digitalization, this transformation has increased operational efficiency. We are now living with zero time process for any operations, and our impatience perhaps is a very quick maybe indicator of how the operational efficiency is maturing, is increasing, is optimizing given a particular transaction, particular operation. This also has, we, especially in India, where we are living with the scale, we are seeing how strong basement that it has given us, how large basement that it has given us for data-driven insights. Like every operation that we are doing, every solution that's coming, that every strategic and planning decisions that are happening are essentially based on a very large data that is giving us very meaningful insights, that is giving us live, maybe a real-time insights also. And all this has nothing but resulted in delivering value to the end beneficiaries. As we were talking right from the beginning, it's the impact that matters in today's world. When the scale is increasing, when the population is increasing to a larger extent, it's only the value that ultimately reach to the end beneficiary. The quickness of that, the relevance of that, that actually gives decides the richness of the solutions that we are all working out in impact sector, whether it's government, whether it's civil society, whether it's technology companies. And of course, as I have been mentioning, agileness of that, the innovation involved in that, the adaptability, the ease. Again, we are going back to seamless and enhanced experience. So overall, this digital transformation is giving us this experience, us, not only those who are connected with the field, but the millions and billions of people, the population of the world are experiencing this real time. What are the big enablers? If we talk about India, all of us know Aadhaar. I mentioned that. We know the biometric, that the role that biometric is playing. And these are all old, these are like the innovations that had started in 19th century. It was started, biometric for that matter, was started in France in 19th century. Don't bother much, but it was initially started by the police force to identify criminals. Now, of course, biometric is everyday practice for all of us, whether it's for the patients, whether it's for the attendance of any employee in any organization. QR code, which has become such a day-to-day life, even the first standard student, all the textbooks that we are having, or the educational content that we are having, all our receipts, all our bills, any information that we want to know, even a child knows that it's the QR code and how that needs to be scanned and how we get information, or maybe the details and the specifications of something that we are trying to know about more. Another catchword, keyword is near field communication, NFC. So all of us know the wireless connection that we can have. Many of us are carrying now the wireless, maybe credit cards. We don't have to give our PIN. We just have to swipe our cards, and that's all. The credit card is read, the debit card is read, and our transactions can go ahead. What is all this that has enabled us in India? Primarily, yes, Aadhaar. I'm giving that example because all of us know that UIDAI is something that is providing the KYC facility for all of our work, for all of our identity, maybe identification wherever it is required. As far as students' education is concerned, all of us know that the QR code on the textbooks, on the learning material, many of us know Diksha, which is the educational platform, India's digital public good. This is given by Sunbird. Sunbird has done that digitalization of textbook. Sunbird has, of course, apart from the digitalization, Sunbird has given us a lot of content management facility, learning management facility, but we are primarily talking about the digitalization. Somebody has telling me there is a spelling mistake on the slide. I'm sorry for that. Once again, the other thing I'm going to talk about today in terms of digitalization is about Saral. So Saral is one of the building blocks of Sunbird, and to whom it means a lot. All of us who are working on the impact space, once again, just to talk about it, I see some of the government department people are over here. Those departments are collecting a lot of public feedback. There is maybe a memorandum going on about certain things. There could be some surveys going on. Census has not happened, but census is something that is definitely, or other type of census. It's not necessarily population census that happens every maybe decade, even if that is delayed. There are a lot of data collection happening. Assessment is being done even by the government departments, whether it's state governments, whether it's even the central government departments, whether it's at the district level. We all know that children, out of school children are being, maybe the surveys are being done by Anganwadi Sevikas in various states. So a lot of surveys are going on and a lot of data is being collected on paper. Many of the corporate, we all know, are doing product market research. There are many maybe on paper market research is happening. Given the India's population, given the rural base, people have to go, market researchers have to go for the mass products, for the consumer products to rural level and collect their data on physical papers. There is voice of customer surveys going on by best of the companies everywhere. Another biggest activity and data collection happens is for the purpose of monitoring and evaluation. And as we know, corporate CSR funds, corporate social responsibility is one of the biggest contributors to the development, to the problems that we are trying to solve because of the scale, because of maybe a lot of social distances that we are having, a lot of gaps that we are having in terms of those who are being educated, those who cannot get educated, those who are getting health services, those who are not getting health services, even providing information, providing government information. So a lot of corporates are playing a major role providing funds. And when they are providing funds to the major social initiatives, it's obviously a very responsible and accountable area for them is to measure what funds they are providing, what is being, how that intervention is being actually implemented in the field. It is whether it is being monitored, whether it is being evaluated for the outcomes, for the impact that this type of social interventions are achieving. Similarly, civil societies are hand in hand working with corporate funds or governments or on their own. And they are introducing a lot of new, initiatives, new interventions, social interventions. They're going with such programs with something like need analysis. They go to the field, they do experiment, they try out, they prove why this particular intervention is required. Then they design their solutions. And then they, of course, again, when they implement the intervention, they go to the field once again to evaluate the intervention, whether it is effective, whether it is efficient, whether it is giving the results that they had intended, the design had intended to achieve, the objectives are met or not. They are also working in the field for decades and decades, like education, longitudinal tracking for various purposes, like for previous years, for previous decades, what was the situation, what is the situation today, is something that they are looking at. Academic research, data is one of the important things. And when we are talking about the vastness of our country, the scale of the population on which the social interventions are being tried out, are billions of children who are going to school, formal school education system, or who are getting benefited because of maybe the informal interventions by various agencies, impact agencies. The data related to these interventions, whether it's again health, education, social sector, agriculture, not to talk about the banking experience, the marketing experience, the product experience that people are expressing, that data is a very rich data for the academicians. If you talk about school education, in terms of the research of psychological research, the neurological research, the education research, whether it's cognitive education, cognitive thinking, non-cognitive thinking, how the educational system, how the syllabus, how the curriculum, how the teaching pedagogy is making difference to children's learning. So here are the children's data. There are a lot of quantitative studies, that are being conducted along with qualitative methodologies to arrive at proving certain hypotheses or assessing that. There's a lot of data preparedness, and that is required for analysis and graphical representation when there is a data in research and the data is collected, especially on the paper. Here is where the SARL, which means a very simple application, something that we can very easily use by all these agencies, whether it's government, whether it's researchers, whether it's civil societies, those who are totally engrossed and involved in social solutions, social work, social maybe services, governance, and have very little to do with technology. For them, to manage all this physical data, to manage the paper data, SARL is one of the simple solutions. SARL is one of the building blocks from the Sunbird family. Sunbird family is the same Sunbird family which has given a digital platform to India, Diksha, and now India proudly taking this digital public good Diksha platform to world as a public good, even for the consumption of the humanity across various countries. So belonging to this family, SARL is a small building block, very easy to use, What it offers? It offers a structured data management from physical to digital formats. We will see, as I said, all the examples that I gave, all the use cases, all the agencies that I spoke about, if they are having any physical data, if they're planning to use any physical data, there is this building block which helps them to transform this physical data to digital formats. It enables at-scale ingestion of this physically available data for easily done analytics to various data sources and visualization tools. This Saral building block helps in keeping paper trail. Now, of course, we need to think about why paper, right? Why do we collect data on paper? But till now, as I mentioned, in our country and at many other places for regulatory requirement, it is essential that there is a paper trail, that the data is collected on paper. It cannot be, for some regulatory reason, for all data collection, always direct data collection from maybe web application or mobile application. Physical data collection is the need because of maybe the socioeconomic profile of the population, their educational parameters. There may be people who cannot have access to digital applications, and hence data collected on paper is still the requirement. Now, when the data is collected on paper and it is transformed to digital data for analytics purpose, for presentation purpose, for maybe getting insights, for better governance, for designing new solutions, can we do away with the paper data? No, we have to have, by regulation, the paper data, the proof kept intact. And that's why application like Saral will enable having the paper data along with direct scanning and proving that there is a paper trail. There is no maybe playing around with the data happened, and we can go ahead and at any point of time for any proof, for any regulatory requirement, God forbidden, for any court cases, legal matters, the data that is presented digitally, visually can be presented and prove that it is a direct scan from the paper. Saral building block comes with out-of-the-box mobile application. That is another ease that when I said it's one of the easier implementable building block, it gives so many things very ready. There is a mobile application that takes care of 99% of our needs. What does this entire mobile application, the scanning, keeping the paper trail, and handling data offers us? It minimizes human errors in manual data entry. As we know, if there is a paper data collected, if that has to be analyzed, that has to be transformed to digital data, there has to be a manual data entry. All of us know and we're familiar with manual data entry. How even now, like thousands of teachers, maybe thousands of data entry operators are doing manual data entry. But the repetitiveness, the tediousness of that task on the computer interaction naturally is prone for the human errors. So in that case, this type of application where you have a paper data and there is a mobile application that helps you scanning the paper data, the human error in data entry is minimized, is in fact almost nil. It also saves the data entry time. Entering data cell by cell, record by record, obviously it takes time. There is a tiredness to human eyes, human hands, human efforts, mind. Whereas it's just one click scanning of paper data that saves a lot of time in data entry that used to be spent earlier. The front end and back end configurability of this Saral building block that it offers to us, it enables us to handle any type of data design, any type of data structure, any type of maybe instrument design that is being done. As I was speaking about design for academic research, it could be designed for surveys, it could be designed for experiments, it could be our own educational examinations, learning achievements, name it, And there is a lot of energy that goes into designing these instruments, designing the data structures. So here, Sunbird offers us the entire configurability to address those design requirements. We don't have to say that, okay, we are using Sunbird, Saral is going to help you in 80% of things, but 20% your design will have to change. That perhaps is not the need, and we'll go ahead and we'll see how that, what I'm referring to. As again, maybe this is a repetition of what I'm talking about, interfacing for reporting, getting the insights from data, getting visual insights, getting graphs for at-scale data. This is something that is very easy because of the Saral backend. We'll see the Saral technology stack. Saral, the paper data that we are going to scan is stored in Saral database in a simple way, and which will have a direct interface abilities with another Sunbird building block if you want to use it, because the Sunbird has proved the at-scale implementation, the scale handling, something that is proven with Diksha. C-Cube is a building block that I'm talking about. So Saral can directly be integrated with C-Cube for handing over data for ready and very quick visual insights that we want to have from data. If not C-Cube, Saral anyways is a standalone application, a standalone building block. It doesn't depend on any of the Sunbird infrastructure that we need to have. And you can have direct interface or integration of Saral database with any other analytical system if you have and want to use it. While I'm referring to the design, the social design for which we need to have data collection, we need to have maybe examinations, achievement surveys, and all other things that are happening in the impact sector. Here is the process. I'm talking about the paper design. We have various types of maybe questions in our surveys, in our instruments, whether it's objective questions, whether it's subjective questions, single choice, multiple choice. We have attendance data. We have yes, no, Boolean questions for many of the things. We want to maybe save we want to have the identity for longitudinal results or comparison for year-on-year data that we want to get. We perhaps at times want to hide the identity as a design of the data source. So if these are all the design consideration in social intervention, governance tools, academic practices, Saral enables us taking care of all these requirements. So there is no need to compromise, as I said, on the strong designs that people are used to, the vast experience of our surveyors, academicians, educationists, everyone that they have. There is no compromise on their designs, their methodologies. If we take that, what happens is there is a very strong and close working relation between the technology people and the impact sector, from government, corporate, civic societies, education, academicians, all the sectors. At the second level, this original program instruments, the intention for which these instruments are made, for which the data is collected, there is a strong empathy, there is a strong technology awareness, there is a strong solution designing process that can be implemented to convert these layouts, these instruments into the layouts that can be read by Saral application, the mobile application, that can be very easy to configure if there is a solution designing done between the technology people and the program people, on the impact people, on the governance people. So if these two hands come together at the second stage, it is one of the very easiest application, as the name is, Saral, to implement and use it in future. This coordination at step 2 is more important to plan it for future use. We can't come to like, we have been living with this and this is what we want to start from tomorrow. Then perhaps there will be some time that we'll have to spend figuring out what is your format, what is your requirement, and how we can convert it to Saral required format. So this step is something that there is no shortcut, so that we take care of good design of your programs, good design of your intervention, good design of your instruments. Once we cross this phase, it's a very straightforward technology implementation for digitalization of your paper data. The backend configuration abilities that Saral provides, and we'll see that in the next steps. I know there are some technology people over here, but I would like to tell them that though we are going to have a very quick overview of what is the technical process, what technology Saral uses as a building block, I would perhaps tell you that I would be very keen if you are interested to have a 2 hours, 3 hours bootcamp to actually do a hands-on Saral practical with you people. But till then, this is for the program people, this is for the non-technical people, where I'm just quickly walking through the steps of how technology is dealing with this. Saral building block then takes care of configuring this entire layout so that the Saral front-end mobile application reads it. It gives the ability to white label the mobile application. It gives the ability to scan data offline. As I said, there is huge rural data being connected, and perhaps mobile application being connected to a very strong network, or the bandwidth or the mobile applications configuration might not support it in all the rural areas, in all the places where we want to go and collect data for the betterment of our people. There, Saral offers you even the offline scanning, and whenever your data comes at the block level, cluster level, district place, in the institutions of panchayat office or schools, colleges, where perhaps the network is available, your offline data will be automatically connected to and transferred to the database in the backend. So mobile application gives us this ability. And of course, as I said, behind all this is the data storage, the data tables, which are very easy to export or integrated with the analytical systems for all types of reports. Here is a live data that we have. The data is the new maybe richness that we have for contributing to the future development for innovative solutions, and for which if we need data insights at the summarized level, at the computed level in various way, from drill down from top to bottom, or going from one single response to maybe even at scale consolidation of data, all this can be enabled. Saral building block in itself will not have this ability to give you the reports in the desired format, but Saral can give you data with various data structures to be included into the analytics. All the steps that I spoke about, the behind picture we see Sunburst Saral behind your mobile scanner. It might appear that it's a very complicated process. The very first step, and the data that is perhaps the visual that you are seeing is right now masked, because it's a proprietary information of one of the intervention program of one of our customers. I don't want to reveal that to everyone. But these are basically the handwritten data that they are collecting. There is something like even the small children's educational data that they are collecting. The second step, what you are seeing with maybe the solid black circles and another picture below that, is a Saral layout that I spoke about. It's a time where solution designers and the program or the intervention designers, the governance people, they sit together and they convert their design into Saral layout. There might be a possibility that we need to create some code books so that the data is interpreted by those who are filling data on paper. It could be, as you know, all the higher education exams nowadays are being conducted on OCRs. Like students are having the question paper in a hand, but their answers are being marked, especially when there are MCQs at scale. Their answers are being marked on a very separate OCR sheets. And this is something that can be directly scanned by the mobile application. Then there is no phase of original format to be converted. But if there is a qualitative method, if there is some other rich data that you are collecting, there could be a manual intervention required for figuring out a layout, paper layout, in which are volunteers, maybe data entry people who are used to do data entry on computers in Excel in tedious ways. Perhaps there is a skill set available, perhaps there is a manpower available, will be easily mark that data on paper. And Saral is something that we call as OCR plus. Why? Because it reads the handwritten data, it reads the numbers, it reads not only those bubbles, but it can read the number. And that is why this second level of stage of Saral layout, it can be either a direct form of data collection or it can be converted by some agency of people, the interns, with some tools. As you are seeing the very colorful blocks over there, it's marking all the small areas, every bubble that we are having over there. Am I audible, Pooja, my team?
Yes, you're
Okay, thank you so much, because there was some internet problem. Thank you. So the technically, all these small OR bubbles, even the number that is going to be written by hand, all these areas, these are called as the region of interest. They are marked in the Saral backend system. And that is what even like my first year, 1 year, 2 year experience engineers are now handling entire Saral, right from installation to figuring out what the program needs to marking it in the backend, configuring that. And what you see at the fourth stage is the mobile application and the way it is scanning your paper data. And of course, at the fifth stage, the data is converted into the data files that will be given to the different platforms of databases or integrating directly, interfacing directly with the analytical systems. Very quickly, Sunbird's landscape, technology landscape, why it gives so much configurability, why it is Saral, because behind the Saral, what you see behind the Saral mobile application, it's a very rich technology landscape. And that's why the configurability is more. That does not basically compel you to compromise on your original intentions of collecting data. And these are the building blocks, the technology blocks that are enabling Saral features, the way we can use it at such a large level for very at-scale data collection, interpretation, and analysis of data. I need not, again, like read all the technology blocks. We'll have a different technical boot camp, depending on the interest shown by many of you. For the end users, Sunbird, if our teachers are going to use it, if our students are going to go maybe for data collection are going to use it, if the interns are going to use it to scan data. So those data entry operators who had to have computer skills now, perhaps don't have to have Excel kind of data entry skills. They can just have their mobile application. Everyone is using mobile now for having photos, communicating on WhatsApp, using a whole lot of other application. Similarly, Saral application is going to be a very simple application. They just have to log into the application, launch the application, log into the application, and scan the paper. Just take a photo of the paper, and it all then give this entire feature set that we are talking about. I spoke to you about offline mode support. I spoke to you about identity that we need to have so that the data can be like traced for longitudinal studies. But I also spoke about at scale surveys where we don't need the identity. We want people to like openly give their feedback, and we don't need to identify individuals. Saral offers that also. Saral offers one page for one survey. Saral offers configuration for multiple pages for one particular form. Like if you are if we have a patient data, one patient and multiple pages, it can be done. One student and multiple pages for students, maybe examination paper, it can be done. To save the time, if there is conversion of students' data into scorecards, one examination, but multiple students on one page, it can be done. So there are a lot of facilities, features that we can exploit depending, again, on our intervention design, the instrument design that we want to have, the configurability, the troubleshooting features, the mobile operators, like whoever is going to scan the paper, are easily and directly can connect to the technology team. There is immediate help button available. There is immediate, like these are inbuilt Saral application features. We don't have to like do a lot of custom development for that. I'm going to just very quickly show you the architecture. But if at all there is a custom application required, customization required for some reason, Saral mobile application is a React application. A lot of things can be easily customized if at all it is required. We'll just have a very quick look at the infrastructure, the architecture of Saral. As you are seeing, there is a mobile application, which basically scans the ROI, which is the region of interest, which is configured in the backend. From the mobile application, that ROI is read, and the data is transferred to the Saral database, which is a MongoDB database. From MongoDB database, or directly from Saral application, it can do it. The data can go to any analytical database. It can be directly interfaced with analytical system. For any other application customization, whether it's backend, whether it's frontend, there are configurable APIs. Like we have to have a very long data structures, you know, when we are talking about drill down data analysis, or we are talking about drill up data analysis from one record to at scale picture, from national level picture to one small student level data, patient level data. For all that, the data structure that we need to configure, it's simply API-based configuration that we can do and create an entity structure in which data can be managed. The RAID data can be organized in the system. I think as far as the Saral usage is concerned, and because of lack of time, I'm sorry, I was quite fast running very quickly through all the slides, but I wanted to cover all the use cases, all the feature abilities, all the configurabilities, even the technology stack design I wanted to convey. And in a very short period, I wanted to cover many things. Apologies for this speed, but I do welcome the questions. They are there. Anyone is
Yes, so if anybody has any questions, please relate to us so that we can answer them in this live Q&A session.
I see one question over here. And this is, I guess this is one of the most important questions perhaps everyone will have. There's a lot of data which is available right now. And the question is from the board, the educational board person. The question is about, I'm just reading the question for everyone's benefit. The question is about having paper data in forms of various mark lists. So this data is already available on paper as well as in PDF format. And now perhaps it is very difficult to go ahead and convert that data to Saral layout. So how do the Saral application can help us converting the physical mark list into digital data? Yeah. So Saral let me clarify over here. Saral gives us a solution ability and convert the data, physical data, into the digital format. Mostly for the future applications, mostly for the future. Like, as I said, if you want to do something, do some study in future, do some survey in future, we can figure out and we can have a instrument design in that way where Saral application can read that. We can have maybe a scorecard or a data card design to support the complicated designs or the comprehensive designs of instruments and the surveys that we have. But that is for future. For the past paper data that we have, either there'll have to be a manual effort somewhere to have a readable scorecard, data card created, and having people to write that data. But I am perhaps very happy to tell you today that at TechD, if I was to give this webinar in next week, I would have also walked you through that demo. At TechD, we have broken this particular block, what do we do with the past data? If Saral is going to be useful for our future programs, future data collection, what do we do with the back data? So it's not the mark list with which we have tried, we are trying, but we will definitely go to your particular question and try about it. But there is data of the billing data, the sales data that was there in terms of a lot of bills generated by the ERP systems. And there is some data analysis that has to be done. So we are right now working on that, and there is the Saral backend as it is mostly in Python, and as you saw the technology stack, there is a OCR reading possibility. So OCR reading is something that we are trying with even the physical bag data that we have, the receipts, the bills, and we have been able to read even the text PDF files or even read even the images. And now we are trying to have this rate data converted to Saral backend database directly. So if it is not the Saral scanning that we need to do, in only for the Saral layout that we have or we will have to prepare, but perhaps scanning, taking care of the reading data of past papers, the already designed bills, mark lists, or even the maybe medical prescription data, we will be able to read that data, scan that data, text or image is something that we are working on right now. Of course, AI is also coming for a lot of help, and we are converting that or storing that into Saral database, which is helpful for at-scale data, again, data structure arrangements, and that can be integrated with the analytics. So I guess in our next webinar sometime or in our bootcamp, we'll be able to take care of showing the demo of you particularly asking about database, reading the mark list, and reading or scanning the existing data, paper data. Thank you for your question. There is another question regarding the mobile application. And I guess this is a technical team member asking that, does it support data validation after scanning the paper? Yes, 100%. And there are two possibilities. As I said, the mobile application, the Saral configurability helps in both the ways. Initially, I mentioned, and I had a lot of stress on having the paper trail. So if we want to ensure by regulation, if somebody, the program intervention governance wants to maintain the paper trail, after scanning, the application is configured in such a way that you cannot edit data, because then that is the technology enabled proof for the paper trail. The way paper was, it is scanned. the photo image and the data is unedited by human. There is no human intervention in editing data. If that is the requirement, we don't allow that. The application can be configured in that way. But there is a lot more time, like we have field examples for that, especially when data entry people or teachers who are entering manual data from the examination papers or something else into the scorecard or the data card. They're handwriting maybe some numbers, or they're filling up the OMR bubbles. What happens is that time, if certain mistake happens, if the data is not properly scanned, if they have wrongly typed some digit, maybe a handwritten some digit, or they have missed maybe marking some OMR bubble, for them to give a chance to correct students' data or some important data, which should not, the erroneous data should not go into system. If the program needs, if the governance needs, we can configure the mobile application in order to edit the data. So in that case, each like scan by scan, if there is a paper, every record that is scanned on a paper is shown on the mobile interface, field by field, for the person who has scanned it to verify whether the data is scanned is correct, or whether they want to do some manual change over there because the data was wrong on the scanning card itself. I hope I have answered this question, because there are both the possibilities, both the features, allowing data to edit, not allowing data to edit, both are important. So I took slightly longer time. There are a lot of questions coming. There is one more question about, does the paper data need to be in a particular format? Yes. Like I said, if you can go back to one of the slides that explained where there were numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even before that, I have mentioned that there is original format that you can have, because that is a very well thought out, the format, whether it's a questionnaire, whether it's any instrument that we are creating. So we suggest that if that is a complicated format, we do not want to actually change that, because that's the richness of your design. There is a lot of maybe description. There could be pictures for easy identification or understanding of the questions. But those formats can be converted to a one-pager. If there is a 10-pager questionnaire, 10-pager instrument, finally what scores, perhaps, what the readable data, what quantifiable data that you want to store for that can be converted and need to be converted in a SARL legible data. Okay, so that one creation of the paper format, the printed paper format, is required if the original design is not supporting the SARL reading. But there are, like I gave an example when I was talking about higher education, and even to some extent, we have seen that if we train even up to 4th grade, 5th grade students, they have been now used to like giving a very, looking at their own questionnaires, maybe answering their, thinking about the question and marking the right answer on the OMR sheet. So if the question answer is designed in something different for a student to read and something different for a student or respondent to mark upon is in the SARL readable format, then it's a combination that works directly in the SARL. We can go to the next slide, where I have demonstrated that if you see a very like masked picture on the corner that you see on the topmost side above the number 1, that's the original format that we have not changed. But we convert, and on the second slide, again, there is a handwritten document that you can see. We have not converted that. But in the meantime, on the second step, because this data, we didn't want to compromise on that design, we converted that to SARL readable format, and then we could use in SARL. But the second format, like on the second point, if that is something that is going to be directly used by the respondent, and if we design our instruments that way, there are some maybe instruction on the top on the bottom in the margins of this type of layout, and that can be directly readable. Then there is no two steps of paper that is required. I hope, Miraji, I have answered your question. Maybe we can connect in more detail for this. How is the pricing of Saral? Another question. When it comes to Sunbird and Sunbird ET, there is a impression that it's a very huge cost of infrastructure, but fortunately, Saral is a very small building block. And it can be actually, as far as infrastructure resource cost is concerned, it can be very minimal depending on what scale of the data that you want to maybe store on the server side. But since it's numeric data, maybe the data size, there are no pictures, nothing, no videos, no audios. The data size, even for the at scale implementation, is very small. So the server side, infrastructure side cost is very small. We can connect personally directly, and on the maybe last slide, we have given one email ID also. We can connect on that. So I can assure that infrastructure cost is very less. Again, the configuration and the development cost, customization required is minimal. And hence, the development cost, the implementation cost is also quite manageable. And where it saves cost is in terms of final implementation. It saves cost of users to, in terms of their time, in terms of their cost of being skilled at having the computer devices, laptops to enter data, instead of that small mobile application and paper. So overall cost is Saral as an application to manage, use, and at-scale data is far more optimized for the large-scale interventions. But actual, in terms of pricing, depending on the need, what server, what size of data that we want to store, what extent of configuration, which I say for in each case, it could be very little, some percent of customization requires as per your original program data, program design, that will decide the overall cost. And we'll be very happy to connect on that.
Hi, Amay, if you can just leave down our. Okay, so it's there on the last slide as well. If you can just leave us an email with your exact use case and the application you need, one of our team member can just connect with you and help you in the pricing as well, Meera. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your query.
Definitely.
Thank you,
There is,
Atharva.
yeah, Pooja, there is one query about from the development community about the bootcamp I mentioned, and I actually took liberty of mentioning about the bootcamp. But yes, since this is the open source platform, since most of the organizations are now having their own technology teams, we are very happy to welcome you to the open source community. And we have invested our time in Saral in exploring that, in bringing that our understanding, our implementation maturity to a certain level. We are very happy to share our knowledge. And again, like Pooja has mentioned, sanbad@techd.net. If you express your willingness to attend the bootcamp of a half day or 2 to 3 hours, we'll be very happy to organize that. Depending on the response, we will definitely announce a bootcamp for Saral separately. I think it was overwhelming. I think this entire session will be on YouTube. So I would request most of the agencies, organizations who are still interested to go through that. They might have many more questions, perhaps. We are running out of time. So we can stop here if there are no questions. I guess, Pooja, Ameya, are there any questions?
There are no questions as of now. So what we can do is this: the comment section is open. Our inboxes, emails are always open for you. If you have any questions, just send it out to us, and we will relay it to Manjari ma'am and get back to your answers for sure. And on that note, thanks a lot, Manjari ma'am, for such an insightful session and an engaging webinar. Um,
Thanks to everyone. Thanks the audience, Pooja, Amaya, my team here, Atharva. Thanks a lot everyone for supporting this. And we are looking forward to, because this is one of the major instruments that I'm talking about, the building block that we are talking about, considering which will matter in impact sector. And we'll be very happy, Pooja, to go ahead with this. And if you have anyone has any queries, any help required, we'll always be available. Thank
yes,
you, everyone. Thanks a lot.
yes. Thanks a lot. Also, thanks to our lovely audience for joining us and being a part of our Impact Next series. Your presence, enthusiasm made this webinar very special for us. And as Manjari ma'am said, if you are interested in the boot camp, we would be very happy to organize it for you. Please do let us know in the comments or just drop us an email or a message on our socials so that we know we can gauge your interest and your availability and organize the sessions accordingly for you. Um, on and again, everyone, for our lovely audiences in Delhi, the Tekri team will be there for 2 days, tomorrow and day after tomorrow. We would love to connect in person as well. If you want to understand the Sunbird building blocks in general, our team would be there at IIT Triple ITD Delhi. So do let us know and do drop by. Thank you.
Thank
And we
you.
can't
Bye, everyone.
uh, wait to bring more of this awesome events in the future. Stay tuned. And a big thanks once again. Just keep making it matter. Thank you.